Hello and welcome to PMCLounge.com. Today, the topic of this video comes in as a question on Quora that was about the documentation requirements when applying for the PMP exam. So we thought let's do a checklist of sorts on what exactly do you need when you are applying for the PMP, when you're filling up the PMP application form. So this is about the PMP application checklist. And by the way, the checklist is available on pmi.org itself. So I'll share a link in the description below. You can go over to pmi.org. You can go over to that link directly actually and check this checklist out for yourself. But then first, let's try to answer the question, what documentation is required when it comes to the PMP application form. So let's try to look into that. So what is the documentation that is required? The strange answer is no documentation is actually required when you're filling up the PMP application form. Supporting documents like your experience, experience documents, your experience proof of sorts, all of those documents, and even your educational certificates, right? Documents like these are required only if your application is selected for audit, right? And we have covered this earlier on how PMP selects certain applications randomly for audit. I'll share a link to that video as well in the description if you want to look into that, if you're interested in that. But PMP does select certain applications randomly for audit. And if your application is the one which is selected for audit, then and only then you will be required to produce the supporting documents which you have mentioned in your PMP application form. The other thing is the application checklist that we talked about. So let's go over to the PMI website and let's look into this application checklist for ourselves. So this is the pmi.org website, and this is the page for project management professional, the PMP certification page. If you go to PMP application tips, we have already covered this. PMP application tips. I'll share a link to this video in the description. We've already covered some of the tips from our end on how to fill out the PMP application form. We've also covered the 5-step certification process, right? So what is the entire process? What are the 5 steps involved for your PMP certification? We have covered that as well. So I'll share a link to this video as well in the description. But if you go over to the application checklist, right? So this is the one which is open here as well. I think you have application tips here. So if you go to application tips, um, you'll be able to reach to this basically this page wherein we talk about the PMP application checklist. So this is the checklist which is provided by PMI themselves. So please keep this information in mind as you complete your application and run through this checklist before you submit your application to ensure you have everything covered. So these are certain points and you can actually check these boxes as well, right? So my project entries represent professional project work experience only. So you need to provide close to 3 years of project management experience. So you need to have this checklist item that the entries in the project that you have made, they represent only professional project work experience, right? You haven't included the experience such as the following examples. These are not acceptable. Your personal, your own wedding, your academic research or degree granting program, creation of a newsletter, home improvement projects like these do not count to professional project management experience. So if you have not done that, you can check this out. Then all of the projects I have included are listed individually. I have not listed multiple projects as one entry. So you cannot combine all the projects and create one entry for 1 year of project management experience, right? You have to create entries for projects which are not grouped together. You have to create a single entry for a single project, and these should be non-overlapping in terms of experiences. Next, I've included the true title of the project or basic descriptor of the project purpose, not my role on the project in the title field, right? So the example is CRM implementation project. So this is the title of the project that you need to include. You don't have to include the role, what your role was on the project. Each of my project descriptions are high level summaries of the tasks I led or directed, and I have included the following info. So you have to give certain descriptions of the projects that you have done, right? So all of them, they basically include high level summaries, a brief 1 or 2 sentences project objective, describing the purpose or goal of the project. Example, the objective of the project was to implement a CRM system to replace multiple legacy systems, and a summary of deliverables within my responsibility. So deliverables is basically the deliverables that were your responsibility, not the project's responsibility, or not what the project basically produced. For the process areas where I claimed R. So example, defined high level project scope, identified project assumptions and constraints. So this is something that you did as part of this project. Other than that, my project entries do not include routine operational or administrative tasks and responsibilities. You cannot have those as project entries. You have to have projects, not routine work, right? The hours of experience included within each domain process area are reasonable based on the time frame I've indicated for the project, right? Although I may not have experience hours in each domain process area for every project entry, I do have experience listed for each domain process area across all of the projects I'm submitting as part of my application. So these two are basically being true to yourself, providing true information to PMI when you're filling up your PMP application form, right? So this is the checklist that I wanted to cover as part of this video. Documentation, like I said, no documentation is required, but there definitely is a certain checklist that you can make use of. A lot of people ask the question, what books to buy for your PMP exam? So this is our PMP book recommendations. Go to pmclounge.com/resources and you'll have our recommendations listed there. That's all that we had in this video. Do hit the like button, hit the bell icon if you're not already subscribed. Subscribe to the channel as well. And don't forget to check out the website pmclounge.com, your number one free PMP resource. And we have a lot of articles that are going to help you in your PMP preparation. Thank you and have a nice day.